Hi everyone, my name is Taylor Robinson and I just wanted to show you this implementation here that I have of this software that I created using code specifically. I just want to show you a little bit of how it works kind of and give you some general information on it. So I'm going to go through here and I'm just going to show you a little bit of just what this code is and what it means. If you want to know a little bit more about this code, you can definitely go over to my GitHub and it'll show you some of those projects that I've done. And if you want to download this file, you just kind of click on download zip here. You'll be able to see that. So let's actually get right on into it. I'm going to move over to this screen here. This is the code that we used to get this software going. And really quick, I just want to kind of explain what this software does. So it's basically just a program that we created. So if you're just someone who works at like a desk or like an assistant, this is what you would use to just log your client's information in, really. So it's just like we used 3 different like user roles, like an operator, provider, manager. Each of those have like a workflow for managing organizational data and processing service transactions. We use JavaFX, graphical user interface, to create this. So in other words, GUI, that's what I will say. And if you hear that term, that's just what that is. So I'm going to go ahead and launch that GUI. So if you want to follow along with me and launch the GUI as well, once you get that file that was downloaded, once you get that downloaded, you can open it up in your software, whether you use VS Code or anything else. I use VS Code, so that's what I'm launching it in today. But you'll just click that launch button. I actually already have it launched, so I'm going to move over. And this is my new tab screen. So this is what happens once it launches. It looks a little like this. So I'm going to go through and we're going to just see what each of these tabs here mean, just so you get a quick little idea of what's going on. So first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and move into manager. It just looks like this. You run the member report, run provider report, run manager report, EFT report, operator. This is where you'll add member, update, delete, add provider, update, delete. Then you will move into provider, request directory, build ChocAn, and then the final running procedure. It just gives you like a final run through or rundown of what's specifically going on. So like if your manager wanted a full report of what happened that day, that's where you would see that at. So let's go ahead and get into so let's go ahead and get into adding a new member right here. So we'll just go there and we'll do John Doe. Oh. So I added all that information there, and when I press that submit button, you can see member ID must be 9 digits. That's exactly what we want. That's exactly how our code implemented this. Error here is if it doesn't give you enough digits, you want to make sure that digit is correct. So that's how you want that to be done, is you want to add that next number. So we'll add in the 9 there. Okay, now you can see member ID already taken. So what we're going to do is we're going to change our member ID, and that's perfect because if you don't want your client to have the same member ID twice, so we're going to go ahead and choose a different member ID. So let's choose 000999888, just because it's like the easier numbers. I do have a piece of paper and pen here to write these numbers down, so that way I can remember exactly what's going on, what numbers I have. That way I can implement the logic, so I can really tell you, so you can understand exactly where I'm getting these numbers from. So I'm going to submit that there. Member added successfully. Okay, now we're going to go in and we're going to add another member. 111222333. That's just the easiest I could come up with. We'll name her Sally. Last name Joe. We'll do address 1381 Time Drive. And then we'll do Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We'll make that L capital. Awesome, member added successfully. So then we're just going to go ahead and we're going to implement another member. Well, actually, we already have 3 members because remember the first one was already taken. So we'll keep those 3 members. We're going to go ahead and go back. What if we wanted to update a member, right? So we want to move one member's name to another member. So let's try that member that worked earlier. So test member there. That's the one we want to change. So what if we change the name? Let's change her name. We're going to update it to Big Al. And then we'll just save that update. Member updated successfully. Great. That's exactly what we wanted. Let's try another one. 888. Search. Member found John Doe. What if we wanted, instead of Roll Tide Drive, we wanted it to be Boulevard? So BLVD. We'll save that update. Member updated successfully. Awesome. That's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. Let's update one more member. 111222333. And we'll update from Drive to Boulevard as well. Let me put a space in there. Save update. Awesome. Perfect. Okay, so now let's go. I'm closing out of these. Okay, we're going to stay in it this time. We're not clicking back anymore. But inside of this, I just want to check and make sure these are all right. So we're going to go in with our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Search her up, Big Al, and we can see that this is no longer the test member. It's the name that we actually chose to change, and that's exactly what we want. That's perfect. Okay, so what if we go in and we try to do the other one? The other member was 000999888. We search her up, John Doe. We can see the address here was changed to Boulevard. That's exactly what we did, and that's exactly what we wanted and how we wanted it to work. So now let's try 333, search that up, Sally Joe, perfect. The address was changed to Boulevard as well. Okay, now let's go in and delete that member, okay? Let's delete 111222333, and we'll search her first. It's Sally Joe, and so we're gonna go ahead and delete Sally Joe because Sally Joe is not needed anymore. She's no longer a member at this clinic, let's say, that we're logging this information for, okay? So now what if we go back and we try to update a member, aka Sally Joe, that no longer exists? So we'll search her invalid member ID. Did I type something wrong? No, I didn't. So that shows you that the member was deleted, and so the member ID doesn't belong to anyone, so it no longer exists correctly to anyone, and so that's how we know that it does not work, because it doesn't belong to anyone. So what if we want to add a new provider? Okay, so let's try the provider. We'll just do that. It's the easiest way to get something going, and we'll name this person Dr. Chocolate. All right, and then we'll say their address is 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Okay. So if we do that, we can now see the provider ID already exists. So we can't have this provider ID. We have to submit something that is brand new. We have to make sure that the provider ID does not match any provider ID that has already been made before, okay? So let's go back. Let's go back. And we're going to do that provider ID there. And then we'll submit her, and she's added successfully. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. Now we're going to try another one. We'll do Dr. Howell, address 456 Howell Avenue, city. Let's do Pennsylvania. We'll just make up well, not really make up mistakes. We'll pretend Pennsylvania's in Texas, and then we'll do that there, and then submit. Oh, provider ID must be 9 digits. Oh, yes, that is correct. I put that in there wrong. So now it's submitted perfectly. Okay, what if we went back and we wanted to update a provider? Okay, so let's say we want to update provider 987654321. Let's search her up. Okay, this is our test provider. Let's update that to Bryant Denny there. And go ahead and save that. Awesome. And then let's say we wanted to update that provider. Let's search her. She's New York, New York. Is there anything specific you guys want to update? We don't have to update anything. We can just make this New York, Virginia, for instance, let's say. Okay, save, update. Awesome. Provider updated successfully. All right. And that is exactly how that would work in that sense. Okay, so if we were to go back and search these people up, then we would be able to see all of the updates that we inhaled. So if we search them up, we can see this is no longer test provider. This is Bryant Denny, right? All right, so let's go on to delete provider. And when we're at delete provider 333-222-111, let's search that. Provider Dr. Howell is there. We'll delete Dr. Howell. Okay, what if we go update provider Dr. Howell, which is 333-222-111, and we search her invalid provider ID. Because she was deleted, they no longer exist. So that's how you know that that is perfectly working just right. Okay, so let's move on. We're going to get on to the provider page, and we can see the request directory. The provider directory just shows literally the type of sessions you're going to have, what their ID numbers are, and just things like that, because those are important for you to know within the next step when it comes to billing. Billing is up under this. It's the next function that we're going to see. So these numbers are just really showing you what you're billing them for. Okay, so getting on to billing, if we go down here and then we do that, and then let's say our date is 04-13-2026, service code, we'll do that, and then we'll just do a simple little awesome. We'll do that there, okay? And now if we go down and we press this submit bill here, we can see invalid provider ID. That's not what we want, right? That just means that the provider does not have the correct amount of number. Something is wrong with the ID number, okay? So we have to change that. I know exactly what's wrong. In this instance, it doesn't have enough numbers. So that's what it does there. Submit bill again, member not found. The member ID is incorrect. In this case, it should have a 9, but that's something that you would have to find is what is that member ID. Okay, now it's saying invalid service code. Yes, that is also incorrect. It's supposed to be 6 there as well, and we just did not do that. Okay, so let's submit the bill. Now you can see bill submitted successfully. Okay, so we're going to go in, and I'm just going to add in another, and then we'll do the full numbers this time. Let's do date 04-13-2026. I'm saying dash, but it's not a dash. The service code here is going to be 598470. Comments. Just do yay. Okay. Submitted, and then we'll do that. Okay. Oh, member not found. I forgot the 2 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Submit bill. Bill submitted successfully. Awesome. That's exactly what we want. So we're just adding things here, and you can see as we were adding that fee price right here, it went up. That's exactly what you want. Is for it to go up every single time, because you don't want that bill or that fee to stay the same. That's not something that would be accurate. So you want it to go up so that way in your reports you can also show what the final fee is, or what, like what you're supposed to have. Okay, let's go in, and what if we look at another one, and let's make this member ID the same. We'll do a service date 04-15-2026, service code 123 well submit, okay? A fee of $30 there, okay? That's exactly what you want. You want it to be just like that. Because of the way that the code was written, you want it to be at 30, but you can see that it's no longer the 60, and that's exactly what's perfect because our number did change for that one instance. Okay, let's go in and try a different one. 00999 888 service date 04 dash, we'll do 13 dash 2026 service code here of 12233. And then we can say lucky day. Okay, and now you can see that fee is at $110. So that's what you want, is you want your things to go up based off of the codes you're doing and like all of that. Like that's exactly what you want. Okay, so I'm gonna move down. There's no reason why I did the date first. It was just easier for me to write as I was thinking. So we did that, and we'll do 000999888, and then we'll go 9. That's supposed to be 8. 987654321. That's perfect. Service code 112233, and then we've got to do a comment, and it can say welcome, just for some random, submit bill. And then let's do 888-999-000, member ID 0009998, service 04-20. Well, let's do 5. Let's do something in May instead of 04-20-2026. And then we'll service code 1231. Oh, 123. Comment can be awesome. I feel like for some reason the comments is like the hardest part in this instance, and I don't know why. Okay, but anyway, you can see kind of how that's working and how the fees go and all that stuff. I'm going to add a few more just so that way our thing can work correctly. Oop, I'm doing it backwards. Talking to you guys got me doing it backwards. So 888-999-000. These are the numbers that were a part of the service, the codes that we were able to see earlier before we got to this system here. So that's just what we're looking at. I wrote them all down on my notebook so I could see them without having to go back and forth. 05 dash. Random date, by the way, guys, it's not like I'm remembering these dates. They're just random. Service code. And then we'll just do lucky again. All right, so that brought our fee up to $60. Okay, so you can kind of see how that works exactly, and just which way everything goes and the way you want, just it just works that way. And so you're able to see how that plays into all the rest of this. We're going to move on to our manager page. Okay, this manager page is going to run the reports of members, the reports of providers, the manager report itself, and then the EFT report. Okay, so let's move on to member report. The member report, if you have that member ID number, what you'll do is you'll enter the member ID number, and once you enter the member ID number, it's literally going to give you a summary report of everything from that person. So the member ID in this case belongs to Big Al, and so it gives you their street address, their city, their state, their zip code, date of service, what provider they dealt with, what they did, like what service, for instance, if that makes sense. So this service was checkup, this service was with dietitian, group therapy, exposure therapy, another checkup session with dietitian, and so on. Okay, so that just is how that works there. Is it gives you just a report of each client. Okay, so let's try another client just so we can see. Let's generate that report. You get John Doe here. Okay, you've got the same information, the address, and it's updated. It's not the same address as the way we started, because remember we started with Avenue. No longer have that, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, so provider name that it dealt with, Bryant Denny, Dr. Chocolate, exposure therapy boot camp for services, and things of that sort. Okay, so let's go back and let's deal with the provider report here. Okay, with the provider report, we'll put in a provider ID number. We'll do from 9 to 1, going backwards, generate report, and you can see the report of Bryant Denny. So what did Bryant Denny do? And it also gives you just the date of the service that Bryant Denny did it, and like the times and things like that. It was all like receipt, like documented. Okay, so that's like also very important because you're able to see just all the lists of everything that Bryant Denny did or was involved with. Okay, so what if we wanted to go in and try the other one? 999000 generate report, exact same stuff, or exact same just like labels, I guess, and then the different information that belongs to this provider specifically. Okay, so now let's go back a little bit and we'll go to the manager report. This manager report's a lot easier because it's not like you're putting in numbers for your clients. You're simply just generating the report from the day, and so you are able to see just how much money it was spent here. Okay, and so it gives you a full estimated total fee. Okay, so I'm actually going to tell you this is not my first time running this program today, so you can see it will be the cost from the first time that I ran the program and the second time I ran the program. To clear it out, you'd have to literally clear out the system. That's exactly what I'm going to do after this, is clear out the system. But you don't want it to clear out your system while you are having a company use it. Okay, so if you close out your software, so if I were to X out my software, I would want my information to still pull up to where I could see it correctly, because I'm not keeping this software open every single day, right? So if I like work at a front desk and I close off my software and I log out for the day, I want to be able to pull my software back up the next day so I can get back to where I was the day before when I come in for work. Okay, so that's kind of how that works, and I just wanted to make sure to show that and stuff, because technically if you were to look at it correctly, I think that the overall total fee would be somewhere in the 400s and not the 900. So you're able to see that information adds on every single day, every time you close it out, open it, and like all that stuff, and it'll go back to where it was. Okay, so moving on, let's go over to the EFT report. Generally the same thing. It's going to give you the same stuff. It'll give you here Bryant Denny, the amount to transfer, Dr. Chocolate, the amount to transfer, just all its information for that. And then lastly, that's not where we want to go to. Lastly, the run account procedure. You're just running the exact same stuff. Total overall fee is there. This is actually essentially the total like price of the day. So this is something that will be sent in an email sometimes. So adding in this accounting procedure completed successfully is something that was pretty important, because you want your client to know, hey, that this was 100% a complete, action, or like this went completely through and stuff like that. So that's something that I wanted to make sure that we put on there, just for information and knowing and understanding. Okay, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess we can run through that code one last time, just so you can kind of get a general idea of what's going on. I've got my Visual Studio Code here. The launch, everyone's launch is going to be different. So if you open this up, make sure your launch settings are correct. It's specifically wherever you have JavaFX downloaded. You need to make sure that your path to get to JavaFX is correct, and the same for whatever is your laptop and not for my laptop, because this is just the code for my laptop. So that will change. You will have to edit that once you get it open in Visual Studio Code, but pretty much the rest of the stuff should be the same. If you do not have Java downloaded, like the Java extension downloaded, it also will not work because this is using Java. So be sure that that's downloaded as well. But anyway, yes, this is pretty much all of the work that is being shown here inside of our software that we created. This is all the information. We've got test, the ChocAn. This is the code that does for each specific, I guess, like button. This is what each button does here. Okay, so when you're billing, this is the code that you're using to bill. Okay, when you're doing accounting procedure manager, this is the code that you're using for that, and then and so on. So EFT, emailing, main Java, member account, provider account. So all of those play some type of role in that software there. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this. If you want to take a look at it a lot more, just be sure to go over to the GitHub and you'll be able to see all those files and information there, and how that works, so you can build it, or so you can implement your function in any other ways. I will try and implement maybe something that gives you specifically like an idea of what the person's member ID is, for instance, so I don't have to write them down in my notebook. Maybe I'll be able to look up member ID. So maybe I can type in someone's name and it gives me a member ID. That's something that would be very helpful for someone who's working at a front desk. So I can add that onto the code to create in that software later. So, but yeah, that's pretty much this project. Please feel free to give any questions or anything like that, and definitely take a look at this project. But hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for coming by and watching this video to learn a little bit more about the projects that I have learned. Thank you. Bye.